So last week we talked about the vision turning on Seth Rollins. I had an emergency podcast on it, and I said, "What the hell does this mean?" There were rumors out there that Seth Rollins hurt his shoulder, and you could see it live immediately that it did not look good when he did that coast to coast to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. And it turns out that is the exact reason why the vision turned on the visionary, and now the World Heavyweight Championship is vacant. And I thought they were going to run CM Punk versus Braun Breaker or CM Punk versus Braun Breaker versus Bronson Reed as Saturday night's main event for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. Turns out they had an over the top battle royal last night on Monday Night Raw. Adam Pearce bans Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed from the Battle Royal because of their actions towards Seth Rollins, who was not even seen. Right? Braun Breaker stole the World Heavyweight Championship from Rollins. Rollins was so hurt he couldn't even make it to Monday Night Raw, and now he no longer has the World Heavyweight Championship, which is crazy that, potentially 6 months from now, the last time we've seen Rollins was him laying on the ground from the vision. We did see Becky Lynch talk about that Rollins is going to want his revenge on Breaker and on Reed. He's going to try to kill them. Not necessarily kill Paul Heyman, just wishes death on Paul Heyman. We saw the promo last night where Paul Heyman says the vision was never about Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch says, well, Seth Rollins never even wanted you. He wanted Breaker and Reed, and that's the only way he could get to them was through Paul Heyman. So it's very interesting. But when you look at the World Heavyweight Championship picture, Jey Uso, Mr. Main Event Jey Uso, Mr. Yeet himself, winning the Battle Royal. Jimmy Uso getting pissed off that after Jimmy saves Jey, Jey eliminates him and LA Knight at the same exact time. But Roman Reigns told Jey Uso, don't care about anybody but yourself, go win the World Heavyweight Championship. And now Jey Uso has an opportunity. But the interesting thing about this is CM Punk pinned Jey Uso a week ago to become the number one contender for Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship. And so I think the same exact thing is going to happen. I think we could have two scenarios here down the line where either the Vision gets involved and the match is thrown out and we don't have a vacant World Championship. We could have a fatal four-way between Reed, Breaker, Punk, Jey Uso at Survivor Series to crown the vacant World Championship. Or Punk just defeats Jey Uso when he goes into a feud with potentially LA Knight, the Vision down the line. I'm very interested to see what this means for War Games because I think we all thought it was going to be the Vision, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre versus Cena and Roman and Punk and Jay. Feels like those plans have completely changed. Now it feels like the men's War Games match could just be the Wyatt Six versus the MFTs over on the Blue Brand. And speaking of the Blue Brand, we had a very interesting angle on SmackDown where Jacob Fatu gets taken out. We don't know who attacked him. And I think you could have, you know, Drew and Cody fight for the championship. I thought there was a chance that Cody's overzealous and Cody fighting in a suit. I thought that would have been a perfect chance to put the championship on Drew McIntyre. I thought it would have been the most shock value in a week that WWE has had in forever, where we had Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes for the Crown Jewel Championship at Crown Jewel, and all of a sudden, 1 week later, they're both not champions. But very interesting storyline developments here. There's a big piece here with Jey and Jimmy Uso, with Jey Uso trying to do what's best for his own. Jimmy Uso trying to say, hey, we're the Usos. And Roman Reigns telling them the Usos aren't the same anymore because Jay's on a different level than Jimmy. You have CM Punk who's trying to get the World Heavyweight Championship back. And then you have the Vision. And it makes me wonder because I think going into WrestleMania 42, the perfect scenario is Cody Rhodes faces Royal Rumble winner Roman Reigns. We get the trilogy. We get babyface Roman Reigns trying to chase his championship back from the American Nightmare. And Cody Rhodes, over time, over the last year, has shown these signs of being a heel. He showed it at WrestlePalooza against Drew McIntyre. He showed it last week against Drew McIntyre when he used the shoe to disqualify himself. But Drew McIntyre is a legitimate case now for a rematch, which if you're going to keep the championship on Cody, that's the right way to book it. Um, I think that's where the final boss reappears, and that's where Cody Rhodes aligns himself with the final boss. And he does to Roman Reigns what Roman did him at WrestleMania 39, which is screw him out of the championship. And I think that can lead to potentially the return of Jacob Fatu. We have Jacob Fatu say that Cody Rhodes was the one to attack him. That's how we get to Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes. I think you could have Randy Orton pissed off that Cody Rhodes never gave him a title shot. That's how you get to Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Is a Cody Rhodes heel turn after WrestleMania. And then over on the Monday Night Raw side, I think Braun Breaker could go on a path of destruction here. I think the Vision are clearly the top heels on Monday Night Raw right now. And we'll see if Punk can have these feuds with Jey Uso and LA Knight and some other members on the roster. Maybe just down the road, Braun Breaker wins the Elimination Chamber, absolutely destroys everybody in the chamber. You get CM Punk versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania 42 for the World Heavyweight Championship. You have Braun Breaker win the World Championship from Punk, becoming the future of the industry. And then the next night, Burn It Down hits, Seth Rollins returns, and all of a sudden, to me, you can have the mortal enemies in Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Well, guess what? They got to team up against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. To me, at Backlash next year in April, you get heel Cody Rhodes against Randy Orton for the Undisputed Championship, and you get Seth Rollins and CM Punk teaming up against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and let's make a stipulation on this tag team match that whoever ends Breaker or Reed becomes the World Heavyweight Champion. Because Seth Rollins and CM Punk are not going to get along. They're both going to fight for the World Championship, but they want to do their damnedest to defeat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I think that'd be a very interesting matchup. And you can always get the Jey Uso heel turn that we've been talking about down the road. So there's so many little interesting stories right now in WWE. Yes, it was a little bit dull of September. And as I talked about in the emergency podcast, people have complained about the WWE under Triple H being too predictable and the long-term storytelling and this, and this. There's so many little intricate stories right now going on in the men's side that we don't know what the hell is going to happen. I mean, I thought it was going to be Punk and Breaker at certain nights main event, and I thought, well, if Breaker and Reed are not going to be in the Battle Royal, then they're just going to pivot to LA Knight, and LA Knight can get pissed off at CM Punk for actually losing an opportunity at the World Championship. But they go with Jey Uso again, who has earned himself a Battle Royal shot. Jey Uso has been trying to get back at the World Heavyweight Championship ever since losing that title match to Gunther. And by the way, Gunther is still owed technically a rematch for the World Championship. We haven't seen Gunther since SummerSlam. When Gunther comes back, that's another potential feud for Punk or Jey Uso if he were to somehow win the World Championship. So we are setting things up down the line, I think, very well for the end of fall going into the year. I could see Punk and Gunther potentially doing that rematch of the Royal Rumble. So I love where WWE is going with these storylines right now. I think there are some interesting angles. I always love angles, right? The Who Did It angle with Jacob Fatu, the signs of a heel turn going on with Jay and Jimmy, the fracture in the bloodline. People are talking about Randy Orton turning heel. I don't know if Randy Orton can get booed as a heel again. Everybody loves singing voices, and everybody appreciates Randy Orton since he returned at Survivor Series 2023. So, again, I'm not sure Randy can come back as a heel. I think it'd be interesting if you get babyface Orton versus like heel Rhodes. And you could have the final boss be involved, and Cody Rhodes being named as the final boss's chosen one. Cody Rhodes has been the prodigal son since he returned to WrestleMania 38. Well, now, after the final boss tried to screw him over with John Cena, The Rock has found his prodigal child, and it is Cody Rhodes. And that starts the Cody Rhodes heel run as champion, and The Rock doesn't even need to be around every single week for it. So, I think there's big picture things going into WrestleMania 42. I'm very excited to see what happens over the next 6 months. Sucks for Seth Rollins because he's one of the best in the world, but he is also injury prone. And unfortunately, now this is the second time in his career that he's lost the world championship due to injury, and technically the third time because he had a knee injury going into WrestleMania 40, even though he did lose the title to Drew McIntyre. So there's a lot going on here, and I'm excited to see what happens in WWE moving forward. Like that clip from the Brand's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand's World podcast right here on YouTube.